Knowing that homecoming dance is next week, let me talk about how my homecoming sweetheart gave me her phone number. First of all, it was very awkward. She was eating lunch and I approached her out of the blue asking for her number. Most likely out of pity, she gave me her number, saying it very quickly, not writing out a note or not allowing me time to enter it in my phone. This became a predicament of me trying to memorize her number. According to the Atkinson-Strickland study of 1968, the average person has up to 18 seconds to remember this type of information. In an attempt to remember her number, I immediately began repeating the number in my head and trying to associate the numbers with other things I already know. Eventually, I was able to memorize her number and nervously text her after school. All of you being high school students have had to memorize something this year, but how long do you remember it? After you take the final exam, do you actually remember the information you were taught? My name is Jack Jennings Schnick, and I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. The purpose of my presentation is to introduce you to how the human memory works. I will be covering the following two topics. What are George Miller's theories on short-term memory? And two, how to transfer information from your short-term memory into your long-term memory. Finally, before we conclude, we will do an experiment on George Miller's theories of short-term memory. Let's begin with George Miller. In 1956, George Miller published a journal in the Psychology Review, revolutionizing the world of cognitive science. He was absolutely fascinated on how the human memory affected our daily lives. In his experiment, he showed his participants a list of numbers that he would either show them or say verbally. He would then ask his participants to repeat the numbers. On average, he found his participants were able to memorize 5 to 9 numbers. This became the magical number 7 of short-term memory. Let's pause that. I'm lost.